الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله ونعمده ونشكره ونستعينه ونعوذ بك من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ما يهد الله فهو المهتدي. We give thanks, praises and adoration to Almighty Allah for sparing our lives to see another edition of Getting It Right with Kids. You are highly welcome to another edition. My name is Kafayat Oyewo Oyelere and I have
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Subhanallah wa bihamdi adada khalqi warida nafsi wasinat arishi wa midada kalimatihi. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin for bringing us back to another fresh episode of Getting It Right with Kids. Fauziya Salakosoni is my name. Just tighten the seat belt and go on with us. For Kafaya, what do we have today?
MashaAllah. So today we will be talking about correcting techniques. The correction techniques, and so we want to ask everyone, or we want to have a discussion around, should we adopt the old system or should we look at some other way where we can have an effective technique for effective discipline?
Yes, we know discipline is quite important in the life of every child, but how do we go about this? I can remember vividly, Kakayat, back then how we were disciplined. You know, when you do something wrong, there are variety of ways of discipline. You giving you punishment. One of it is that if you do something, part of the punishment is that either you stood down. Have you heard of stood down? You stood down where one of your toes is on the ground, one of the legs is up. You'll be going through pains. That is one way we were punished then. Another way is that you be given that opportunity that go and fetch. You go a mile, a very long mile, to go and fetch water in a very big container that you are not likely to even get it filled up.
Beating.
Beating, that is another one. And what do they use to beat Kafayat? As worse as hot iron. We. If it's like maybe you steal something or you do something wrong, the beating is as I don't know, very, very intense. Though it is trying.
I do not see that as beating again. I see it as torture. That's
then torture. They don't see it as torture. They see it as being disciplining somebody. Though we are trying to discipline, but at that time, I'm very sure the term that we have now, that shouldn't be happening, because the modern day we have now, the children that we have now, they can't take that pain.
Someone even told me that as a child, when she was growing up, I don't know, she said she didn't even do what the father imagined that she did it, and then she was beaten to the extent that they had to cut her body, and then the father insisted she had to bath with water that was mixed with pepper.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kafaya. I heard of a story of a female sister that the father wanted to discipline because he doesn't want her to be wayward.
Okay. Because
she had friends that go out in the night. Do you know the kind of discipline given to this child?
Okay.
Oh my God. They had to put blade, to put mark on a private part and put pepper. My goodness.
Like you see, all these kind of ways are hold and a cake, and it still doesn't mean that those children grew up to be people who are positive, or it doesn't mean that they actually grew up to be better people than people who did not go through this kind of menace. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, I'm very lucky. I grew up with love. I was shown love. The whole of my life is love. I've never lived with anybody. Growing up, I never lived with anyone. The highest I can do I stay with my parents throughout my life. And the highest I actually stayed out, maybe when we go for holidays, was maybe 3 weeks. My dad he can't take it. We just have to be under him. Not because he was very weak, but because he actually took it upon himself to take care of us. So let's now look at what are we supposed to do, because we know that children will definitely like to go wrong. Children will definitely have to hurt. But what are the best ways to control this? You see this as settings. It is important for us to allow our children play. Let them run around. Let them play. Kids will always be kids, but we have to correct them when they hurt. And the very first way we can actually adopt is what we call the natural or logical consequence. In this kind of way, when a child is doing something that you feel is not right, just invite that child and naturally explain the consequence of what he's doing. Because if you are doing the wrong thing, obviously there will be a bad side to it. Let them understand. They also have a brain. Like from science has discovered that the 70% of what a child brain, of what the brain will look like, will develop between the age of 0 and 2. So when your child is above 2, 3, your child is 6 years old, they can actually understand us perfectly. Let them know the consequences. If you climb a tree, you can fall and break your hand. You can even tell them the story of how you did this when you were young and it actually affected you. So these are things children want to hear. We no longer want to hear, you know, in those days, parents will never tell us they failed exams. All parents were brilliant. They tell us how they always come first, how they... But this time around, it's quite bad because the children will definitely not learn anything from you. If they are failing, they believe that they are not taking after you and then they want to withdraw. Tell them you failed, but tell them how you were able to cope again. So it is not a bad thing to fail, but it's actually a good thing to learn from your mistakes and move on. Then another way is withholding privileges. Okay, you know, maybe they have some privileges. Every Saturday you take them to the beach. So anybody who has done what he or she is not supposed to do in the house, who has broken any of the rules, then that child is not going to experience those. Exactly. So these are actually ways that you can undo children of today. Another one is what we call, okay, even still talking about privileges, it's as far as stopping them from watching cartoons. You know, we all know they like it. We all know they like things, you know, they
depriving
love.
them of those things that they love, so that they will know that there is something they have done wrong. That is why you are depriving them of that privilege, to enjoy that privilege.
Exactly. And meanwhile, we should not nag about it. Their parents will say, I told you to wash plate, so if you don't wash the plate, that means you will not eat for 2 days. This is not what we are saying anyway. What we are saying that it is good to wash the plate, it is good to wash plates because it's part of your core responsibility as a child. And that's what you should do. And then if eventually anyone who does not remember to wash the plate will not have so and so at some time. So it's not about nagging.
Just like we have said, because even coming to abuse now, it's not just as you're abusing, they are being tortured emotionally. You call it, you are a fool, you are this, you are that. That child looks at that, remembers that every time and feels like whatever he or she does, if she's not getting it right, she feels because she has been called so name, that is why she's not doing that. So another way to make, in this day, this modern day, how we can make our child, if he or she is going wrong, we can correct it, is being showing love to them. You understand? If they have done something wrong, we are their parents or their stakeholder in bringing them up, get them seated. These things, if you do, use the story of the prophet, story of Sahaba, that when they do things right, when the children does things right, it gives them this privilege, it gives them this reward. When we begin to give them these practical examples, it will go a lot. You know, children, they like when they see something, they tend to make it still in their brain. So tell them stories that will make them understand that once you are doing something wrong, there is likely that you have effects of that, which will be punishment. The punishment definitely is not inflicting injury on your body anyway, but you could be deprived.
We even call it discipline,
not punishment.
Exactly.
Discipline.
So that's going to take us to another one that says that in your home, let us ensure that there is no pressure, and that's why you can see we are sitting down so relaxed.
Yeah.
So ensure that there is no pressure. Don't set standards that you know we want these children to go extra mile. Tell them. Then it is also important that you teach them what you call reaffirmation. You can do better.
Yeah.
You are loved. You are brilliant. You are beautiful. You can make them into sticky notes and stick them around the house.
So when they go around the home, they say it, they are happy about it. At times, on a setting like this, you sit down with your children as mother, even as father, tell them stories, you know, read books with them, story books. This makes them to love the fact that, my parent is with me, I love my parent loves. When they get to school the following day or they say they are friends, they always, yesterday my mom was with me, she read stories to me and things like that. So these are ways that we can actually correct them with love so that they can understand what we are saying.
Honestly, sister Fauzia, you can't possibly say take it better. And then at the same time, let us remember that if you look closely at your child, you will definitely see a reflection of yourself or your spouse. So don't take it too much to heart. But what you want to do is just trying to be their guardian and ensuring that they grow up to be human beings or adults that are socially responsible and acceptable. Take time to know how committed your children are. create an avenue. Let us create an avenue where you can talk to them, where you can allow them express themselves. Children always want to ask questions. It is bad for parents to always shut them down. And then Sister Fazia mentioned that you don't have to shout. In science actually proven that children that get used to nagging and shouting at all times, they usually do not have, they have very low IQ, so to say. Yes, it kills their IQ, it kills their intelligence. So when you teach children with love, when you show them love, when you tell them, you are not forcing them on what to do. You are only showing them the way and leading the way. It is not possible for you to say you want to enforce a kind of discipline that you as the mother or father are exhibiting.
Exactly.
My sister, you know, somebody is outside. You just told the child, go and tell that man that I'm not around. And then you are telling the child not to lie. You know?
Because we parents, we are like mirror. Our children, not only parents, even teachers in the school, every stakeholder in the upbringing of these children, we are like mirror. They look at us, they look at what we do, and they tend to emulate. Even if you don't say it, they say, like, let me tell you something. When I was doing my diploma, I was not covering like this, you understand? I was just tying, you know, that pop now, you know. So somebody now told me later on that, do you know why I was tying that? It's because I saw you doing it. I didn't tell you to do it, but she saw it, she felt it's okay, and she was doing it. So we parents, stakeholders in bringing up children, we need to be mirrors to them, because what we do, they see and they learn and they emulate what we do. It's not only what we say alone that they have to take and work on. What we do is even more important. When they see mommy is always praying at salat at the right time, mommy is always respecting mommy and daddy, mommy is always preparing food. Even without telling them, they know what mommy does and they want to do that because mommy is their role model.
Do you know what funny trend is this? I started seeing a lot of people writing, oh Lord, whatever we have said to our children when we were angry, don't let it manifest. Why do we have to say it in the first place? So you don't want your children to curse, but you are the chief executive officer in that field. You don't want your children to fight, but every day your children see you fighting either their father or their mother or their sister or somebody outside. Children cannot even tell you what happens in school because they are scared that when you get to school, you fight everyone. So whatever you don't want them to do, don't do it. Exactly. And then at the same time, you also want to correct your child. You want them to always learn how to read, how to do this, but you are always in front of the television or pressing your phone. These children learn. We call it role learning. What they see is what they do. So on this note, I want to continue to encourage us that may Almighty Allah continue to be with us. May Almighty Allah continue to give us the grace to be a role models to these kids. And don't forget that negative parenting is not allowed. It is not justifiable. And these days, we are not encouraging beating at all. And we have set all these lines that we have set down. There are things we expect that you do, and we pray that Allah make it work for you.
Allah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it work for each and every one of us. But please, our parents, always remember that we are role models. What we do, these children learn and they emulate. So let us be good as much as we can. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make these children the coolness of our eyes. Till we come away another time, Fauzia Salakosoni is my name, saying parenting has a lot of job in it. So do it well.
Bye-bye.